What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Serafina, here with the check in. This is a different kind of show we're going to do today. If you haven't tuned in since last time, it's a show about what goes on outside of the ring, the struggles, the business, the things that fighters go through on a day to day basis outside of the ring that people really don't know about. Um, and we're going to discuss a little bit of mental health too. So on today's show, we have Jamel Herring, former world champion. Um, Welcome to the show, champ.
I appreciate it, Sarah. Thank you.
So for those people who don't really know your background, you have military background, you have a big family
hmm
man, former world champ. Tell the people a little bit about yourself and what brought you into the sport and where you're at now.
like I said, grew up in Long Island. Um, what really got me into the sport was basically just trying to stay busy and away from out off the streets and out of the streets and things of that nature. So that's why I first fell in love with the sport of boxing. Obviously in '03, joined the Marine Corps. Had two deployments. Seen a lot. Dealt with a lot of Marines that have gone through issues that we're going to speak about today in terms of mental health and depression. I've seen far worse. Those who couldn't deal with the pressures of life, take their own lives and things of that. So I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. Even now, like I said, when we first started speaking about this topic, it really hit home because even though I stay busy, I still go through a lot mental health with dealing with PTSD. And recently, I just actually was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. Which I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I was like, I think this is like maybe in like literally not even a month ago that I was just diagnosed with that. So when you had brought it up around that same time frame, it felt like it was like just a perfect time just to speak more on it. And before I even got on this call, I was texting you saying I was just dealing with the VA of terms of making sure that I get the proper treatment. Because again,
Right.
people see me commentate on TV and I always got a smile on my face, but at the same time they don't know what myself and others go through in the background when we're not in front of the TVs or in the public eye.
Right. And that's so courageous for you to come out and say that because, I've met a lot of boxers and um, it's almost like a vulnerability. You
Right.
know, you're showing the world that you're not this, you're not so tough all the time. Like you do have a softer side and you are vulnerable and um especially in our community, guys don't want to get the help because they don't feel like there's anything wrong.
Right. And I used to be like that at one point in time. Like again, I wasn't really diagnosed with the PTSD until like years later after my military career. I just thought like you said, I could deal with it. I could whatever I'm going through right now. I'll deal with it my own way. But it took for my family to see that it was getting worse, and I had to make a decision if I was gonna basically pretty much lose my family, or or have people not want to be bothered with me, because at times I might have an episode where I might just flip out or just don't want to be bothered, or and I shun people away. So I had to deal with a lot. I had to deal with a lot. I had to make a decision to do what was best, not only for me but also for my family in the end. And like you pointed out, a lot of people, they feel like there's nothing wrong, or there's no problem there at all at times.
Right. And I think that sometimes is a generational curse.
Mhm.
um with me and my family, my father was abusive, verbally and physically, to my
Mhm.
mother, to me, but he ended up getting help. And I couldn't ask for a better grandfather to my child,
Right.
right? He was,
Right.
the best grandfather I could have ever asked for. But growing up, I loved my dad and I looked at, his abuse as love. So I thought that
Right.
was normal,
Right.
like,
And that's
so,
and
yeah.
that's crazy you pointed that out, because that's what I was even telling my with my my doctors and everything. Like I have two special needs daughters that I'm raising now, and I
Wow.
have I have three daughters in general. I don't need them to think that certain things that they may see go on is the norm. You know what I mean? Like I don't like again, like even now I've tried to stay away from like arguing with Jen because at least in front of the girls, or because again, like you pointed out, I don't need them to think that this is the norm, or any real father wouldn't want their daughters to be treated in a certain, in a
Right.
disrespectful manner, as I would say, or such. So yeah, I get it. Like I get it. Like I said, I just feel like I'm at a point where I'm comfortable opening up, because I feel like the more I open up, the more others may open up as well,
Of
and they
course.
may want to go get the proper treatment and help. So like, I'm not, like I said, again, you may see me do this and that. Or I don't care how many world title fights I could be in. I'm still human. I'm still human. And I breathe the same air as anyone else. So, and I can admit if I'm wrong, and if I need help or need to get treatment or doing such.
So, like going back to your military days,
Hmm.
I'm sure you've seen a lot. I'm sure you've seen guys that are diagnosed with PTSD. What are some of the symptoms that you saw some of your friends go through, or you yourself went through, of PTSD that you were like, this is not normal, and I might need to see somebody about this.
Well, I can say just recently when I had my last fight in November, a few weeks prior to that, I had found out that I lost a fellow Marine that I served with from substance abuse. These are like and that plays a lot, whether it's alcohol or drug related. He had overdosed, and that's why I dedicated at the end of that fight. I had dedicated that fight to him. You know what I mean? And I've been trying to since then. Been trying to help his daughter's mother with help in terms of getting the proper care for their child that he sadly left behind. So again, mainly just like a lot of veterans feel like they're not being heard. So that's when they go into things like alcohol abuse or worse. I've seen where a Marine I served with overseas in Iraq, they come back, get in trouble, in and out of jail. He had one of my a Marine I served with, he actually hung himself in his jail cell. So like I've been down to Houston, where it's called Camp Hope, and I've heard like really like horror stories from like I'm talking about like veterans from the Vietnam War that are still dealing with issues today in any treatment. Matter of fact, one of my best friends that I love dearly, he had to go down there for treatment and help, and he served in the army, and this is my I grew up with since I was about 6 7 years old, and he's also now just getting the right proper treatment help that he needs to better himself, because there was a time where he wasn't close to his own family because of everything he was going through. But now he's I seen him make a complete 180, and I'm proud of him. But again, that's just one of millions of stories and veterans that go through similar
Right.
issues.
And I feel like the military and boxing are similar in a way.
Yeah.
Uh, when it comes to, you have to really be dedicated, right?
Hmm.
It's a lot of work, focus, being away from your family for months at a time. And, just they love you until they don't, right?
Yeah.
When you get into the military, it's like, let's go, champ. You're the man. They're putting all this focus on you. And the same with boxing. It's like, all right, I like this, you know, I have something here. But then at the end, the end of your career, or, when you get you leave the military or you leave boxing, it's like, well, what do I do now?
Right.
And, it's kind of like you're written off the face of the earth. Nobody
Right.
cares about you anymore because you're not of service to us anymore.
Yeah, and it's crazy because when you was telling me about Andre Durrell's situation, I mean, coming up, huge fan of Andre. I thought like Andre was going to be that guy. Not saying that he wasn't, but we all know how his career had panned out. And like you mentioned, what he had said when it was over, he had to come to realization, and it's kind of like it's just heartbreaking at times because a lot of people, like, we all have that as a fighter. We all have that set goal and dream, but like he's a perfect example of it always doesn't pan out that way. And we've seen fighters that've gone through worse where they never even
Look at
reached the
Ricardo
pinnacle at
Williams,
all.
right?
Yeah, yeah, and then they never got
Prime
to reach the pinnacle at
example.
all. And it's like, what's next? Like, so for me, and I've seen that myself. Even When I had stepped away for a while and I started to see it, but then on my end, you see me, I was trying to do commentating, helping other fighters out with management and advising. But again, a lot of fighters, I can say I'm kind of blessed and privileged to at least have something I can pretty much fall back on. But again, at times it was still hard for me because I enjoy competing. I enjoy competing, which is why I came back. But and luckily for me, I can still do it physically. And you hear me now. I'm not like slurring my words or anything like that. But again, sometimes it takes a lot. It takes a mental and physical toll on other fighters is where they can't compete at a high level or where they were used to at one point in time. So I get it, and I think this is a great platform for fighters to at least share their story and just speak on where they're at today because it's not like any other sport. Boxing it's not like the NFL or NBA when you can fall back on something after your career is done or you can get the proper help and treatment. No, it's like boxing is like when it's over, it's over unless you already set your plans ahead of time. But let's be honest, a lot of fighters they don't do that. Like they think, oh, especially even fighters at the highest level who made crazy amount of money when it's all over, they don't have nothing to fall back on because they never planned. They never planned that ahead of time, and they're back to square one. But this time they can't compete anymore.
Right. Whose responsibility do you think that is at the end of the day? Do you think it's the
I think
managers, the promoters, the fighters?
like for me now that I'm in that management position, we actually myself and Jerry, we actually try to help fighters get in place in terms of
Jared who?
Jerry
Jared.
Casares, JC,
Okay.
at Wildcard King, or he goes by
Got it.
on social media. But like we actually try to help fight because again, one thing I seen that a lot of fighters actually don't pay attention to, if you really look at it, is their taxes. A lot of fighters aren't out there taking care of their taxes, and that's when I think that's a lot when a lot of issues take place down the road is when it's all said and done and you made all these million dollar purchases, but you wasn't taking care of your taxes. The IRS will step in, will get involved, and that's when you start seeing a lot of the depression from financial problems, which leads to depression and things of that nature. Have issues with these fighters, so we always try to help fighters like set up their LLCs and to take care of that, get just handle their money properly for starters and get some like medical benefits or whatever because there's no medical benefits for fighters out there to get proper
Right.
treatment. So you gotta it's like things of that nature where you can put it on management at times for not helping fighters and probably just going with the flow, but not really like telling fighters what to look out for. But again, it really starts with the person, with yourself. Like you are like any fighter should know your name is your entity, your name is your business. So you have to really be on your business and take care of yourself. Because again, I see a plenty of fighters right now just dealing with back pay with taxes and things of nature, and that's what really leads to a lot of issues, whether within the household, their spouse, whatever, they may not be able to deal with it anymore, or they don't want to deal with it anymore, and then that creates turmoil and problems. Or you see a fighter, trying to get back into it, but just fighting way past his prime, and then that leads to more, health issues and so on, which adds on to depression. So it's a lot that goes into it.
I would love if the boxing community could come together and create, and I think that's what I'm trying to do here, is to create a platform to where we can give financial literacy. We could
Right,
give outlets for mental health. Like, hey, if you need someone to call, call me, call you, call this 1-800 number. If you just need to talk to someone and just have a soundboard to talk to, we as a community need to help one another because nobody, like, even a therapist, I don't really think can understand a boxer's mind.
right, right.
You
No,
know,
I get
like,
it.
it's a different world, different ball game. Um, and it's just it's difficult for people that aren't in the business to really understand what you guys go through.
Right. No, I get it. I
So
get it. And again, it's like you started, like you pointed out a few weeks back off call with even now with fighters just like getting in all the trouble now, and it's like we probably need more treatment because it's like again it could be a thing like football, CTE, and
right,
we're constantly taking punches to blows to the head, and sometimes we don't know how to channel our anger the proper way,
Right.
and it leads to us getting in trouble. And you see a lot of fighters more commonly, getting involved where they're getting locked up left and right. So there's a lot of things that we should like really start as a community start looking into and getting proper treatment just for not just like you point out finances, but like just mental issues and getting proper treatment for that.
Yeah, 100%. Now, going back, you I asked you, could we talk about anything? You said we could talk about anything.
Yeah.
Um, you lost a child,
Yes.
and to SIDS, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and I just actually recently learned that by like reading up on you. I never actually knew that before.
Right.
Um, you know, with everything that you've been through in your life, like, I'm a mother, so I couldn't even imagine losing a baby. Like, how were you able to cope with that? Like, what did you go through in order to uh, just move on with your career and stay focused in boxing when you have like your whole family that's basically just you're the man of the family, so they're depending on
Right.
you for that, you know,
No,
that rock,
for me,
you
I
know?
mean, honestly, between us, I still think about that situation till this day. I think about my daughter every day, but I always try to find. I mean, it's not much. Well, that's not a positive thing, but I was trying to the situation as a whole. I always try to find a positive thing into it. Like, I lean a lot on faith, and I look at my daughter as my guardian angel, and I think about, okay, would she approve if I did this or I did that? So I try to live my life the correct way as much as possible. But to help me get through that at that point in time, it was actually just a lot of the family, the Marines that I served with at the time. Because I mean, I remember I think I locked myself in a room literally for like no lie, like maybe like a week straight after all that happened. Like I
Mm,
didn't come out, I didn't go anywhere, I didn't want to speak with anybody, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't even want to even continue. I didn't even know if I wanted to continue boxing at that time. And I had to really lean on a lot with the friends and people that really love me to get through that. Even to this day, we it's you as a parent, like it would kill you no matter how long time will pass. It's still gonna bother you or play back in your mindset. And honestly, they even thought that, like, when I was getting the treatment for even with PTSD, they even thought just that one incident, kind of, was like the kickstart of everything that goes on. Because again, it took a huge toll on me. But you know, I instead of me, basically feeling sad, feeling bad for myself, I got out there and started speaking on it more. And I seen that when I started speaking on it more instead of keeping everything in, it kind of helped me. It kind of helped me deal with my own issues even now. That's why, I'm kind of like free spirited. Like I don't let a lot of things, get to me as much as I did maybe 10 years ago or so. So again, I feel like the more if I can get out there, even like with this platform now, get out there and speak more and be open about it. Because again, I had a friend that dealt with the SIDS, and she lost a child, and she didn't
mm,
know who to turn to, and she reached out to me, and we just spoke on it. And I told her straight up, it's not going to get easy. It's not something you can get over, but in the end, you can deal with it a lot better down the road by just opening up more and just staying strong and positive.
yeah, absolutely. You know, respect to you for continuing your career after that loss and everything that you've been through.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, if you notice, every time on my trunks, I always have her names just on the front of my on my trunks, Ariana. So like when I'm sitting down on that stool, and if I'm going through a rough patch, I always think about my daughter as my to help me get through whatever I'm going through. So every fight I have her names just on my trunks.
right. So moving from that, um, I know you're close with Adrian Bronner.
Yes.
Yeah. So, when he does things like, when he makes posts about, suicide or, crazy posts, do you ever reach out to him? Do you ever like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, hey, I would reach out to him and I'd be like, hey, bro, you all right, man? Like, if everything, if you ever want to talk about anything, because, AB, people think people we all see people see AB one side of it at times. You know, the guy that's out there just in the media for all the wrong things. But like Adrian, when I first turned pro under Al Heyman, I was with that camp, and he helped me a lot in terms of put me in the right environment for to elevate my career. So I don't ever forget things like that. So again, when I became at that level of giving back as well, I always remember where I came from, and so whenever he's going through something, I always reach out, hey, bro, if you ever need to talk about anything, I'm here. No, 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 no judgment. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge, but again, I'd rather have you speak with somebody who cares for you than just ignore it. And again, he knows for a fact I'm not going to be a yes man either. Like if I feel like he's stepping out of line, I'm gonna check him for it. That's just how I am. You know what I mean? He may not like it at the time, but I guarantee later on down the road he'll appreciate things of that nature. Same thing with Errol, my guy Errol Spence when he was going through stuff. Hey, Errol's always been supportive of my career. Always said nothing but great things about me. So I reach out to Errol at times. Hey, just checking up on you, bro. And think about it, I know his family's actually from Brentwood, Long Island. So I know, that's how I
Hmm.
connected more with them. From the amateurs, knowing that. So again, I ask how the family's doing. I ask how he's doing. We'll chat. We'll chat behind. We had a lot of chats behind the scenes, and we'll just talk it out, and we'll just go our way after that. But again, that's what anyone. Even down, and that's why one of the reasons why I was selected as the team captain at the time for the 2012 Olympic team. Because till this day, I'll reach out to those guys. JoJo when he's going through his stuff or whatever. Marlene, Clarissa. I don't. Again, I don't. I don't. For me, I feel like if you have a relationship with somebody, it doesn't end when whatever. Okay, Olympics is done. Yes, we'll go our separate ways, but if we had a real bond, I have no issue reaching out to you to make sure that you're good, even to this day.
Right. I
Even in
think
fact, even in fact, even with Shakur, like we had our issues, but Shakur will tell you also. There's times I've hit him up. When we see stuff on maybe on Twitter that, that's bothering me. I hit him up like, hey, bro, just make sure you're good. Or I'll text him, hey, just check on you, bro. You all right? And we'll talk. Me and Shakur, we had plenty of conversations behind the scenes, and we'll laugh at things, and it's all love and end. So like for me, I don't hold grudges with anyone. I'd rather see people just live their lives. Obviously, I'm saying the way they want to, but just do it in a well respected manner and go from there. But yeah, I had conscious of all those guys: Shakur, Adrian, Errol,
and
me
are
and
they
Bud
usually
speak.
receptive or they kind of like,
No, I
you
mean,
know,
I mean, they actually, they actually open up. They'll open up, and we'll just chat it out, and we'll just leave it at that. You know what I mean? And they don't. I honestly, I can't even say it. Like I had an issue where they wasn't trying to hear it or whatever. Man, it wasn't nothing. It was always all love. So again, that's why I wish everyone the best out there. Whether we fought or we had issues in the past, like that, the past is the past for me. That's how I look at it.
right. And I find it interesting that the dynamic between you and Shakur, because you were like a mentor to him, coming up. You're older, same weight class, but I remember before you guys fought, you were pretty close, yes?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
man. It was always love. Like we trained together, sparred, all that. In the past when he was still on Team USA. Yeah, I always thought he was gonna be something special. So we always had a cool dynamic. Of course, being around Bud, we always came across each other at the fights or whatever. So it was never. I think like when that whole thing went down when we was getting ready to fight, that kind of took me back a bit. But afterwards, like him and Jen, they speak all the time. Jen checks up on him now as well, and like he'll open up to Jen and she'll see how he's doing because again we're older, so it was like we don't. It's no animosity. We just wanted him to make sure he's good out there, and he's a father now, so we'll speak on a little bit on that, like him and his daughter are doing, and we'll laugh about stories about just in fatherhood. But again, I'm just glad that for the most part he's all right, and I just want to see him do well in his own career and his own life.
How was that for you, going into that fight, knowing that you're fighting someone that you were pretty close with? Like, how was that mentally for you? How do you, just turn on the on switch and say, all right, I'm fighting my boy, but I'm winning this fight. Like, how do you?
It's like once you step in that ring, it's to me, it's just business. Like you're in there now, and it's like you gotta do what you gotta do at the end of the day. I think the buildup was probably, if I'm being honest with everyone, the buildup was probably more nerve wracking. But like once you lace the gloves up and get in that ring, it is what it is.
Because
That's
it's
how
kind
I
of like
look
you
at
got
it.
to pretend like you don't like each other, right?
You got because he's trying to take you out. You trying to do it, vice versa. So you gotta do what you gotta do in there. But even now, like say like for instance, me and Jermaine Ortiz are real close now. My team, like I said, Jay helped him out. Matter of fact, I just spoke to Jermaine earlier today. Check up on him, see how he was doing out there because he's in Vegas right now. But and then, Tio, that's my guy. That's my guy too. So I just kind of like the business side of even with boxing, just stay neutral with it because I'm never gonna say anything disrespectful about Tio because again, like we've even at your place that you're at now, me and Tio had a real good conversation and
Yeah, that was epic, man. That was a
yeah,
great
and
night.
then you seen it yourself. He showed up. I didn't even know he was coming to my fight that night. He showed up to show love and support. So I'm always gonna be like grateful for that. And just when he fought Josh Taylor, I had pulled him to the side because he was going through his issues at the time that people was pulling in from the media. And I told him just like I said, hey bro, at the end of the day, you got people that love you. You a father now also, so you got something to fight for. To forget everything everyone's saying, you got something to fight for. And he went out there, and I think he put on, other than the Lomachenko fight, one of his best performances of his career. And I'm happy for him. And even with this fight, I'm just like, hey, go get y'all money. Go get it's business. Jermaine wants to be a world champion. Tio, wants to prove that he's the guy at that division. And like I said, you're close with Devin. I love Devin as well. And I had to talk with Devin at the Lomachenko fight when he was getting laced up. So for me, I always have a good relationship with a lot of these guys around the table. I look at it like I said, when we in that ring, it's business. And at the end of the day, though, people need to understand boxing is still just a sport. I don't take anything personal afterwards. Like me and Shakur, after I was cut up and I lost to Shakur, we still hugged it out in the back and spoke and exchanged our numbers again, and we've been talking ever since then. So, for me, like I said, I don't care. Like when people bring it up, oh, you lost, whatever. It's boxing. At least y'all know me. I'm fighting anybody at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how I am. But
I
I
mean,
ain't
and
running
if
from
there was
nobody.
anyone to lose to, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna knock me for one person, and that's the only fight you want to knock me for, then so be it. But again, like people don't understand the relations that you have afterwards with the fighters, and like I said, I'm glad that me and Shakur are just on good terms now.
So as a fighter, former world champion, how do you move on from a loss with Shakur? Like he's top dog now, in that division.
Right.
Like in your mind, you know the business. He's like, am I going to get a rematch? Probably not. So what do you do from there? Where do you go from there?
You gotta take it as a lesson. Instead of looking so much as a loss, you gotta learn from it. That's how, at least for me, that's how I learned from it. And just move forward. I mean, you can't sit there and dwell. I mean, I was obviously upset how it played out, of course. But again, I mean, I'm human. But I took it as just it is what it is. I lost to the better man. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take from the fact that I was a world champion and people, let's be honest, people thought I wouldn't even get that far. So you gotta just take it as a lesson, and you gotta just keep moving forward. And even now, just continue proving people wrong. Like I came back, and now people whether they like it or not, my name is still out there, and for the most part, it's out there for good reason. So I took everything as a lesson. I look back on that fight. I look at the mistakes I made. I even had to change some things that I had to do, take some time away, change up some things, whatever. But more importantly, I took care of my body. As you all see now, I'm not one of those guys that put on 40 plus pounds in between camps. I live the correct way, and I take the sport very seriously. But I just learn from it. Like I said, I'm not losing no sleep over it.
Right? You moved up to 130, right?
No, I was at when I fought you, man. I was at 35, 135
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there was nothing available. But the last fight I went back down to 130 for that fight.
got it. And that's where you're gonna stay at.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I still make the weight comfortably, so I don't see no issue with me, moving up or down or any other weight class. But that's where I'm stay at.
Nice. Your last fight, like I was kind of in awe because I was like, it's like you never left.
Yeah.
I just saw Jamel Herring that I always knew in the ring. And I mean, you didn't miss a step.
No, yeah, I take it serious. Like again, you know personally how dangerous the sport is, and I feel like if you don't have both feet in, it can be bad. It can be bad, whether it's mentally or physically. If you're not in it and for all the right reasons, it can go bad. Like again, you know how the business is. I know how the business is. I think I was offered to fight Joe Cordina, but I was like for his title. But I'm not stupid. Like I haven't been in the ring at that point in time for like 18 months. Why would I do that to myself? And I wasn't coming back just for a paycheck. It was never just for the money. Even with that fight, it was donated to charity for veterans that are going through issues in their lives. So that's what that whole card was put on about. But for me, like I said, I got if I'm gonna be taken seriously as a contender, I have to be serious in that ring, and I can't. And again, that's why I came back and forth an undefeated kid. I wasn't gonna fight just a bum. I had to basically go in there and just fight somebody that people will look at and be like, okay, maybe he is serious about coming back and go from there. But um, it is what it is. I'm back now, and even now, I just seen recently that my man Lamont Roach is open up to a rematch. So, who knows? Who knows? It could be another world title fight on the horizon, but we'll see.
You're still with Top Rank, correct?
No, that's not, I'm with Lou. I'm with Lou. I'm
Okay.
working with Lou, but
Oh, okay. You always okay.
I still have a good relationship with Top Rank. As you know, I commentate over there with those guys. So, and, Lou works for everyone. I felt like in
Right.
this part of my career, I'd rather be at where it's options. Where I have options where Lou can go speak with the PBC. He's spoken with Eddie Hearn. He works with Top Rank. So, I'd rather have it that in that part where I can don't have to be obligated to do this, and that, where I can have free range to move wherever I need to move to.
Mm. Have you ever had a situation like with a manager or promoter that just went left, like you weren't happy and had to, things ended badly or
No, I mean I have. I mean I think I learned a lot when I was with Al. When I was with Al Heyman dealing with the PBC. And I was just learning a lot of game from over there at the time. But like, of course, there was times where I didn't get what I wanted, but it wasn't like it ended up badly. Like, I mean, I could still call Al's number to this day. I spoke with Oscar De La Hoya because people forget when I first turned pro around that time, there was no PBC. There was Al Heyman working with Golden Boy at the time. So,
yeah.
yeah, I spoke to Oscar maybe a couple months back about helping other fighters out and speaking with him about doing something with Golden Boy. I see Top Rank every other week, so me and Bob, we will sit down and speak. I just spoke with Eddie Hearn. So for me, I don't believe in burning in bridges because you never know when you may have to go across those bridges
Smart,
again. So for the
smart.
most part, I try to keep a cool relationship. But again, if I gotta speak my mind, I'm gonna speak my mind, but respectfully. But I've never had an issue where something went left and we just fell out.
See, and that's such a smart thing to say and a great advice for other fighters is, try not to lose your cool in business.
Yeah,
you know, and don't burn bridges because this is a very, very small community. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to see that person or have to do business with that person again at some point. I mean, there's
right,
a lot of people in boxing that I don't necessarily care for, and I'm sure there's people that don't care for me.
right.
But at the same token, I still have to deal with you, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially as a manager, it's like I don't want my personal issues to now fall on my fighter, and now I'm hurting their career because I said something about this certain promoter, and now they don't want to deal with me or my fighter because of something that I said or did in the past with them. So that's why I try to keep everything just, I
Right.
try to keep everything cool.
And I'm sure you know a lot of fighters. I know a couple of them myself that have literally burned every single bridge they could
Yes.
possibly burn. I mean, and to where they don't even have an option ananymore.
Right.
They have
Right.
nowhere to
Yeah.
go. And I know for a fact that they wish they didn't burn those bridges and can go
Of
back
course.
to that situation. Because listen, I understand that everybody needs to know their worth.
Hmm.
Every fighter needs to know their worth. However, you also need to be realistic.
Right.
A lot of fighters overprice themselves in a sense to where I'll give an example. There's a great female amateur fighter who wants to go pro, and I had a nice conversation with her. and she told me she wanted $100,000 signing bonus.
People
And
forget. Listen, people fighters need to understand. This isn't the year 2000 where that Olympic team they always getting like a Ricardo no, it's getting $1 million signing bonuses. Like the boxing landscape has changed, and you gotta roll with the times. You know what I mean? Like
right. And
you
I
gotta.
think that I'm not saying that fighters shouldn't ask because, there is the art of negotiating,
Right?
but,
Yeah.
you do need to be reasonable at the same time. Okay, I give you $100,000. Can you sell $100,000 worth of tickets? Can you sell $50,000 worth of tickets?
You
How
gotta,
about
you gotta
you?
understand though. You gotta
You know,
understand though
it's,
too.
it's
You gotta pay
exactly,
that
it's a
money back
business
eventually.
at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
and you gotta give that. You gotta start paying that tab. You know what I'm saying, back eventually. And like you just point out, you gotta start either bringing in some ratings, TV, putting asses in seats and everything. So again, that's what the promoters looking at. They're not about to
And
cater
this
to
is a
you. And
female,
it's
you
it's
know.
rough. I mean, again, yeah,
So,
women's boxing is getting better, but it's still growing. And it's like, yo, you gotta be like you gotta look at the women now that are top level and they're still fighting for their place at the table. So you gotta just look at everything going on and just be reasonable. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to if you feel like you worth that, I respect that. But again, when it's time to negotiate, you gotta be reasonable at the table, and you can't just start shunning off everybody or getting in your way of a good opportunity because you're not hearing what you want to hear at that point in time because things can change over time where you may be able to get that 100,000 anyway by going about it this way. So yeah, like I said, it's the art of negotiation.
yeah, it's that's just something that I've struggled with. I mean, I know you just got into management, and sometimes fighters might have to take the low end of the bargain if they want to,
Right.
like, especially in the beginning stages. I know you deal
Yeah.
with where's Krebs. What's her first
Yeah.
name?
Makai.
Makai Krebs. I mean, I know that she's fought on the shows on Sony Hall, and
Yeah,
I
she on my last card. She was on my
she
last
wasn't
card. I put on.
getting a ton of money, but she does it because she knows there's potential there, right? She knows
Right, absolutely.
what could be.
Yeah, and again, like the money's in the fights. The more you continue to build your profile, you're going to get to where you want to get to eventually as well. That's when people ask about me. Did I come back for the money? I'm like, no, not really, but I know how the sport can be. I said I know the money will be there as long as I continue winning, but I'm not coming back right now looking for just a payday. I know I have to work back towards getting that the right money that I want. But yeah, everything fighters they understand everything's in the fights. The more you keep winning, the better it gets. I mean, even look again with Tio. Tio when he first came in, he was pretty much low risk, high reward. You know what I mean? Because he started at the bottom, man. But look where he's at now. He's calling his shots. But he worked to get to that platform. He worked to get up there. Same thing with Devin. Devin had to go over the border with his father. They wasn't. If anything, he probably was paying for slots just to get fights. He wasn't. He probably was fighting for free at times, but now
I
he's
know
in
for a
position.
fact he was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know how it goes. Yeah, but now he's the boss and he can do what he wants. Again, you gotta believe and you gotta set goals but you gotta be reasonable and smart with it. Again, now he's making 7-figure paydays and he went from fighting for free. Now he's in position to do what he feel like he can do with his own career in life.
Right. I want to let people know that we are opening the phone lines. If you guys have any questions for Jamel, call in and we'll bring you on. Um, Jamel, when it comes to health insurance, a
Right.
lot of people don't know that, most boxers don't have it, and that the one time you do have it is the day of your fight.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's the only time you actually have health insurance. So if you need anything done on that day, you better take your butt to the hospital.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They have that window because if not, then you're getting left with a crazy bill. And I seen some bills like 5 figures, and up at times with some of the medical bills. And they fall on your credit, and that's just it. It's all on you after that. But yeah, a lot of fighters need to really start looking into getting proper health care. Well, I don't care whether it's cheap health care, just get something
And
to
how do
cover you,
how do
because
you
you
suggest
might.
they do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's this, like, it depends. Like, again, on which state you live in, of course. You know how it goes. For me, I'm at least I'm lucky. Like, I have military, so I always have the VA if I need something to fall back on. But like you pointed out, you made a good point where if you have something wrong, you better go that day. But sometimes us as fighters, we might not even think about it that day, and then we'll go home, and then there's some issue from their fight. Might pop up a week later, but by then the promoter's not dealing with it. That's on you from then on point on. So like you should like fighters should always have a backup plan in terms of what healthcare. And luckily for me, I got Jen who looks out for the family, and strong. I have a strong spouse, but so she's always looking out. But again, everyone doesn't have these luxuries because they're not thinking about it, or they're thinking that nothing's going to happen to them when they're going into that fight or so.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's one of my goals too, is just to give the knowledge on how to receive the health care. Even if you have to go on your state Medicaid, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, because, but what messes that up, right, is that boxers may not get paid for a few months, and then all of a sudden they get this big check. And once you get that big check, the Medicaid's going to get cut off
Mm.
because it's based on your income.
All right. Yeah.
So, then they have to go through, Obamacare or whatever and pay a monthly thing. But, then that money starts running out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think
it makes it
again that's
really
really.
difficult for fighters to keep medical just all the time without having those breaks. Like there's
Yeah, I
got to
mean,
be
yeah, I mean,
something.
it is rough. It's rough. It's rough. Like another thing that we try to do for our fighters is like try to get sponsorship behind them, because there's times when you may not know you can fight, but you may have to fall back on a stipend or things of that nature. But again, it's a lot easier said than
And how
done at
many
times.
fighters get a stipend? Let's be
That's what I'm
real.
saying. Yeah, it's a lot easier said than done at times, and it's rough. It's
Shit,
tough out
Terrence
there.
Crawford broke the internet when it came out that he makes $50,000 just for camp expenses with Top Rank.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
and I was in that boat too. I was in that boat too with Todd Rank. Where I was just getting a camp expense to take care to cover the camp and things of that nature. Like I was like at least 25, saying thousand at a time just for
And
the
was
camp
that something
expenses.
that you had to pay back after you fought?
At times, sometimes you can include it in your see. That's what we say the art of negotiation. You can include it with your contracts, or like you pointed out, sometimes they will take it out of your purse if you don't at times. So it's pretty much it's pretty much a loan if you may say. But again, it all depends how you negotiate it.
Right. Well, going back to a question one of the people in the chat had, it was really interesting, and I think it's something that you could definitely touch on. James Benitez, he said, "My son that recently passed was diagnosed with Down syndrome, uh, trisomy 21. What difficulties do you encounter with special needs children? How has that changed you as a man, if you want to share?"
Man, like I said, I got two autistic daughters now, ages 10 and 6, but different types of two completely different types of autism. Really, my 10-year old Jasmine, she's like high active. You know what I'm saying? She's high functional, but she just can't deal with her emotions a certain way. So that could be stressful because if she feels like you don't understand what she's going through, it frustrates her, and then that it kind of bothers you. But for me, I just learned like they taught me to be more understanding. You know what I mean? Just like my 6 year old, she had a delay with speech. So, that could be frustrating, but we had got her the proper treatment and things of nature to help her with speech therapy. And now she's doing much better even in school. She's going to regular school and everything today, right now. But it's one of those things where you never, and as you know as well, don't matter how old your daughter is or whatever, you still continue being a parent. You still learn, certain stages of parenting in your lifetime. So even now, like my daughters teach me how to become a better parent. I got a daughter right now that's in school to be an attorney. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm still learning. She goes to Southern University. I'm still learning how to deal
I'm
with, okay, she
sorry,
got.
Gramblinite over here, but
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like she like I'm still learning how to deal with independent. She's independent now, so again, you never stop. Even my own mother is still learning, and dealing with situations with her children, such as myself. So I don't think you ever stop learning or being a parent ever. And again, I know, like, especially these children, it could be rough, but it's always good to do your research. And even now, I'm still learning and doing more and more research to get my two daughters the best treatment so they can have somewhat, in my opinion, a normal, feel like they can have a normal childhood and life to
Quality of
grow up
life.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have help in the household? Like I know that, I have family members that are autistic, and some of them aren't really functional, they're
Right.
not
Right.
able to live normal lives by
Right.
themselves. Do you have help for that?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah, definitely, definitely. Like again, even my older daughter, she's learning. She's doing a lot of children advocacy in her end, and so she's because she feels there's going to be a time where she may have to help out with her sisters. So that's great to have. Of course, I have my mother and my sisters and everyone, my brothers. But again, I'm the parent first, so I'm doing everything on my end to learn how to, to get them the best treatment, the best help they can get. Even during the summertime, we put them in programs where they're still constantly learning and staying busy and bettering themselves.
what's your take on medication? Do you think it's needed, or do you like to take the holistic approach?
It all depends. It all depends. It all depends. Like even my 10-year old, she kind of has like a bipolar disorder with her autism, so she needs certain medications. But again, I feel like it's all about what the preference of the parent as well, and what they feel that I'll never question anyone on their parenting or what they want to do, but all medication isn't bad medication. At times it kind of keeps her calm, cool, and collective in the household where she can be manic at times. But certain
Hmm.
medication, like she's been getting better. Way like in the past 3 years, she's getting way better to where like I barely even hear from her. And she's in the same house, but she just do her own thing. She's always she gets great grades in school, pretty much an A student. So like learning isn't an issue with her. It just her social skills, and because she may not be able to deal with other kids because they don't understand her too well. But like with certain medication, it kind of keeps her level headed to where she can she has friends in school and they understand her and she's doing a lot better with herself. Same goes for my 6 years old. She's doing great in school. Um, she learned like one thing about like kids. A lot of kids with autism, they're fast learners and they can remember a lot of things and keep it with them. So, and that's another thing also like we mentioned with the whole mental health thing. Like I don't want to do things where it sticks in my daughter's head because and it's the wrong thing. It was a
Right.
negative situation. So I always watch what I say and do around them.
Champ,
Especially when you have the special needs.
Yeah.
Sarah, let me interject here. Champ, how old did you say she was?
Oh, which one?
The one that you said is on medication that to slow her down a bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's 10 years old. She'll be 11 in July.
Yeah, not trying to be ignorant. I'm jumping in here because a lot of people have gotten away from traditional meds and they're doing the
Right.
CBD now for children with autism and hyperactivity. Have you
Yeah.
went down the CBD route yet?
Absolutely. 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 I went like again like learning on the job pretty much. Like we've been to plenty of doctors and we tried this and this didn't work. If anything, sometimes certain medications made it worse. So we took off certain things. You know what I mean? And it was that I think that's like the most frustrating part. It's like, man, like you feel at times defeated. Like I'm just trying to, what I'm saying, get my daughter the best treatment, and so many things are just aren't working. But now it's like now we're getting it down to where like, and we took off a lot of things as well. Like a lot of medications just wasn't the answer, so we took off a lot of stuff, and we're like we cut it down to maybe just a few things, and mainly for her like because hyperactive, she has trouble sleeping at night. So, and then on top of that, when she doesn't get enough sleep. Then she takes that, she had like mood swings in the morning and takes it to school, and that was an issue. So we like for the most part, it just we dealt with a lot of things to help calm her down and find her peace.
Yeah, I was. early on diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid.
Hmm.
I remember the days when, they would call me to the office, the nurse's office in elementary school to give me my meds.
Right.
Right. And it was kind of embarrassing. I think at that time, that was, we're talking early 90s.
Yeah.
Um, Here I am aging myself, but that's fine. But it was a little embarrassing for me as a kid, just going, feeling like I'm different or there's something wrong with me. How do you tell your daughters, or what do you say to your daughters to make them feel normal, to make them feel like they're part of society? Because I know, like, sometimes kids are cruel.
No, I was
Kids
in the
can.
same boat. I was in the same boat. Growing up, I had to go through speech because I used to stutter a lot when I was younger. So of course, getting picked on and everything like that. So I always share my experiences with my kids, and I'm just open with them, even at a young age. And for the most part, matter of fact, yesterday my daughter was upset because she felt like she was being bullied or whatever, and we had to deal with that yesterday. But for the most part, I sit down with my daughter and we'll just talk. We'll talk it out, and I let her vent, no matter if it's even the story sounds crazy. I think like just allowing your kids to feel like they have an open room to vent and speak to you, that helps a lot because a lot of kids, as you know, they feel like they can't speak with anybody and they kind of shut off from everyone. But again, I just share my experiences with my kids. Like I wasn't always who you see today. Like I had my struggles. When I was in first grade, I was going through this or that. You already know, but back in the day when we had resources and that's what they called it, whatever, and I was dealing with all that coming up. So I dealt with a lot myself as a kid, but I always share my experiences with them.
Absolutely. Um, when I think back to when I was on medication, I still take medication. I'm on Adderall for the ADHD.
Right.
Like even now, if I don't take it, I'm like scatterbrained. I can't finish a task.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I have depression. You know, I think that now in the age that we're in, um, medication isn't looked at as such a bad thing anymore. It's kind of
Right.
like normalized, which could also be a bad thing, right? Because with the Adderall, people take it that don't even need it. They take it
Right.
to finish their schoolwork, or even athletes take it to give them that little
No, I
extra.
mean what you just pointed out. My older daughter in college, she takes it for because like you said, she gets the same way. She'll get scatterbrained and she'll have work up anxiety and it'll
And
bother her
you
and
like
she has
can't
to.
stay focused on a
Yeah, she
task.
can't stay focused. So again,
It's one of those drugs that could easily be abused.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you got. I think like parents and even adults, such as ourselves, we just have to be smart in what we're giving, putting in our bodies, and also giving our children. But again, we live in an era where there's a lot of research out there. So we always do our homework and check everything that before we take anything or give to anyone.
Right, because it's the same thing when it comes to boxing. It's we get into the whole VADA thing and the drugs and all that.
Yeah.
And before taking anything, you should always do your
Oh no,
research.
yeah. I go through my nutritions. I don't play because
Like there's
yeah.
no excuse for not knowing what goes into your body.
Yeah, I don't play
There's
with it.
no
I'll
excuse.
speak to her.
I
Yeah.
don't buy it when fighters say, "Oh, I didn't know. Oh, this person gave me this, blah blah blah." Cut it out.
Right.
Like when you're
Nah,
at a
I mean,
certain
especially yeah,
level.
especially with your body and your career, you should always do your research before before you put anything in your body. Like I don't play around with it. Like any type of supplement, like she'll recommend it, but she'll does her homework, and I do my homework myself. I'll do it myself to start. I look up everything, especially with the whole Vada and whatever's out there. Like I don't play around because it takes one time. It takes one time, and
Right.
everything that I've done in the past, it goes completely to waste because they're gonna question everything
Everything
that
you
you've
do
done.
going forward. Everything
Don't
you do
question
going
everything.
forward will be in
Yeah.
question. But, it's one of those things to where like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Um, recently with the Alicia Baumgartner thing, it's like that kind of opens doors for a lot of fighters to say, "Oh,
Criticism.
I didn't know,
Criticism.
I didn't know, I didn't know I took it."
Right.
You know, so Not saying she took it. I'm not accusing her.
Yeah,
She
it's just a slippery slope. You know what I mean? When you get into that mix, nothing really comes good out of it. At the end of the day, even when you do prove your innocence or whatever, how it goes,
right, and I
it's
feel
always gonna be
bad
a
for
stamp
her
they're gonna put you
because of
with.
the scrutiny. Like her career's tarnished because of it. She may have not done anything, but because of that, she's always going to have that kind of like dark cloud a little bit, until she just proves with Vada, which I think
Right.
is the best thing that they're doing for her, that, she's clean. And that,
But you know how the sport is. You know how the sport is. The sport is gonna be either way. They're gonna be. It's always gonna be something. It's always with movement. It's always gonna be something. Sadly, you know what I mean. If you could prove you clean tomorrow, but someone's gonna write something in the media or whatever to question this or that and the third. So it's always one of those things. It's just like you said, it's just that cloud that just sometimes never seems to leave. I mean, it's rough. It's rough.
right. No, 100%. Um, you know, I want to thank you for coming on this show. Like, you have been so awesome in just like sharing your story. In closing, like, what would you want to tell fighters? Like, how could they get help? How could they receive help if they're going through something? What would you suggest them to do? Is
Um,
there a resource that
I,
you know of, or
I think for starters, it starts at home. Again, just open up. It's nothing wrong opening up, especially at least open up to somebody you can trust first, because they may be able to help you get to what you need to get to as well. But again, if you do have Medicare and things of nature, just speak with your doctor. Even now, I tell everyone right now, I'm to better myself. I'm going to do like group therapy with veterans. Veterans that are probably going through worse than me. This is just to share my story and possibly hear them out, and I might learn something from them that I didn't know that I can do or go see. So these are things that I do behind the scenes when I'm not in front of the public eye. But again, I just want to continue bettering myself because I feel like I can't be a help of need to my own children and family if I don't better myself first. And again, it all starts at home. So I think fighters, and it doesn't even have to be fighters, just people in general who are going through similar situations of, mental issues or whatever, should just, start at home with their family and go from there. But and again, speak with your doctor.
right? And that's kind of what I wanted for this show. Um, was to give fighters an outlet to talk to one another. You talking to them just watching this, saying, "Hey, I didn't even know he was going through that. He's going through the
Yeah.
same thing I am," and so that they don't feel alone.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you right now, I go through a lot. Why you think like honestly, me when you see me doing so many things, it's come keeping myself busy and keeping my mind off of things that bother me. Like you may see me in training camp one day, but you may see me back over here commentating, or I'm over here working on a fight. I'm always trying to just keep myself going because I don't, I'm not. I'm honest. I'm the type of person like once I have too much time to myself, sometimes like the past might hit me and then it might start bothering me again. So I always try to. But again, even now I'm still working on finding ways to cope and deal with it. Because again, I can't always solely fall back on boxing to help me with my help me with my issues. So I have to also look for other means of help to make sure that I'm good and make sure that I'm good for by my family.
Awesome. Well, Jamel, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I'm sure that somebody is going to hear this and, receive some type of help or some type of message from it.
I
I really
appreciate it.
appreciate you.
No, and again, anytime, man. Shout out to you in this. This is a great thing y'all doing. I hope that other fighters will come on board and just speak their mind, or just people and just not even just fighters, anyone in the boxing world in our fraternity, that may be going through something. They can come on here and just share their knowledge and stories. Because I'm gonna tune in, so I might learn something from them as well. So again, anytime y'all need me, Ness knows I'm always available.
I appreciate you, champ.
All right,
Appreciate you.
all love you.
Please.
Till the next one, ladies and gentlemen, next Thursday, the check in.